All right, everyone, time to get started. Welcome in. Thanks for coming out to Wings and Rings, the special Cincinnati Bengals Talk season preview. Training camp is in like 10 days, which means Andrew's going to be really, really busy in his basement, and I'm about to sweat a lot on the practice field. But we really appreciate everyone coming out and supporting Cincinnati Bengals Talk, however you do, supporting Wings and Rings. We're hoping to do more of these. This was kind of like the pilot. So excited about that. So let's dive in here. All right, Andrew, the biggest takeaway from quarterback without spoiling for those that haven't watched it.
I mean, without spoiling?
Don't spoil it.
First of all, I don't know if I got to talk about early on. You saw it in the trailer. Joe Burrow playing piano. As somebody that grew up taking lessons and things like that, and you heard Joe Burrow's playing piano to help with his wrist, I'm like, okay. He can't be that good, but he was actually not bad. For like very limited experience, that's my fun takeaway.
No, let's stick with the piano.
Okay.
Because I have a tidbit on the piano. Ted Karras plays the piano. Joe Burrow learned the piano. And so I go up to Joe and I'm like, Joe, and they hang out regularly, obviously center quarterback. Hey, Joe, who's better? And he looked at me like I would look at you guys if you said who's faster, me or Andrew. And he was like, shh. Like, obviously I'm better. So Joe Burrow much better than Ted Karras at the piano, which I believe, by the way. Would you put money on? I would. I think Joe is so. My big takeaway is you can see why Joe is way better than Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins at his job. Those guys are very normal. Joe Burrow is such a unique and individual and obsessive in a good way when it comes to being a quarterback, because he's like maybe the best on the planet at it. And I think you see that in quarterback. See, you see how I didn't spoil it? See how I didn't spoil it, but I talked about it? Normal Kirk Cousins.
Okay, so now I'm going to spoil Superman. No, I'm not going to do that. With Ted, I think, and I've met Ted a number of times. I've obviously never met Joe. Ted would be good at pretty much anything he would do, but he wouldn't be like dialed in like Joe. I think Ted thinks something's a really good idea, and he'll execute. That's why he's gotten to the level that he has in the NFL. But I do think that he takes it seriously, but then he kind of just moves on to the next thing as far as hobbies are concerned. Joe strikes me as the type that would be like not just watching YouTube videos. He would be like, he'd probably learn the history of how the piano was created, and he would go hardcore for like a month straight.
All right, that's enough piano.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't play piano. I don't know. That's your world. The artsy world, the drawing world, all that. That's why you knew how to make all this stuff work. We're recording this, by the way, so we'll be able to put some of it up on YouTube as well. I'm excited about that. There'll be some one-liners that you guys don't get since we're sharing mics. We're sharing the mic. I've already given a few.
It's like a mic'd up.
It is like a mic'd up.
Yeah.
That's true. It's like a special edition.
Today's video is brought to you by Christian Husky of Sipsey Klein Realtors. If you're looking for a realtor, look no farther than Cincinnati native and huge Bengals fan, Christian Husky. He knows how to guide you. Like Joe Burrow guides the Bengals, he can guide you through the process of buying or selling a home. Whether you're upgrading, downsizing, relocating, or just starting the search, do it with purpose with Christian Husky. Live well, move mindfully. Follow at Christian.Husky or visit sipseycline.com/chusky.
All right, so we talked about quarterback. Training camp's in like 10 days. You guys are about to ask about a bunch of stuff, I'm sure. Biggest concern going into training camp, I'm going to toss it to you again. I think there are multiple. I think trenches are certainly one that people are thinking of. Health, getting off to a fast start. There's a lot of ways you could go. Today, what's your biggest concern going into camp?
You're right. There's so much. Guard. Cornerback, D-line, guard. I don't know. Protecting Joe Burrow. I mean, it's guard. I'm worried. I don't want to hear the headlines about how they need to bring someone else in mid-August when we've been asking them to bring someone in all of 2025. So I don't want that narrative. I want it all to work out, but it is my biggest concern.
I'm shocked.
Go on.
Not at your take.
Oh, okay.
I'm shocked they didn't do more at guard. They cut Kappa before free agency started. That's super proactive by the Bengals. Jermaine Pratt just moved on last week. And so Alex Kappa gets cut. I'm like, oh, they're going to go after a guard. Like a real dude. They're going to bring someone in. They know he's coming in. And they didn't. And they waited. and waited and waited. Then they signed Lucas Patrick. Then they got to the draft, and then they didn't take one in the first round. There really wasn't a guard worth taking in the first round. Second round comes along. The best guard that you could imagine in the second round is there, and they're like, nah, we want a linebacker. Fine. And so then they take Dylan Fairchild in the third round. I really like him. I think he's going to be good. I like Jalen Rivers in the fifth round. But then they don't follow it up with the free agent signing on the back end. So the answer, and I think what Mike Brown is going to say when he talks in just over a week, it's a week from Monday, Mike Brown will talk. Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor, all of these guys are going to say is, we believe in Scott Peters. We believe we drafted the right guys. And that's just super concerning because Joe Burrow is ready right now. I think he's ready to be the best quarterback on the planet right now. I'm not just saying that because this is a Bengals show or anything you just watch. He had to do more with, not less necessarily, but more within chaos than any other quarterback last year. More in chaos is how I would describe that. And so for them to proactively cut Alex Capper and then do the opposite of what I thought they would do, which was aggressively go after guard, I think that's the biggest surprise of the offseason. I think that's a bigger surprise than the Trey Hendrickson non-extension to this point, than Shemar Stewart not being signed on July 11th. I think the biggest surprise is their lack of attacking guard. Not with huge money, because they've never done that historically, but with the right guy. It just felt like they were like, oh, well, Lucas Patrick's available. He's a pretty good pass blocker. We'll go get him, and we'll draft Dylan Fairchild because Scott Peters really believes in him. And that's concerning.
Yeah, and I do, I agree with you. I like Dylan Fairchild, but, and I get that it's a luxury to have O-line depth. But if you're relying on O-line depth behind an unproven rookie, I mean, even with Amarius Mims, you had Trent Brown. I love that setup. I said it last offseason, and I stand by it, of course. But Dylan Fairchild doesn't work out. Let's hope they even figure that out mid-August, if we're lucky. What do you do? I feel like they make these moves that are intriguing. Okay, wow, I'm impressed. Alex Kappa, they realize it's just time to move on. But to your point, it's like freeing up the cap space and not doing anything with what you freed up. It's that same sort of vibe, that same strategy. So I'm very concerned.
Today's video is brought to you by Transparent Labs. You know, if you watch or listen, that I like to train, I like to work out. Transparent Labs is making my life much, much easier because it's 28 grams of protein per serving. There's no artificial sweeteners. There's no artificial dyes or fillers. And it's just a handful of natural ingredients and 28 grams of protein with just 1 gram of sugar. That is perfect for anyone trying to get a little healthier, get a little stronger, or all of the above. If you would like to try Transparent Labs grass-fed protein for yourself, head down to the description box, and for a limited time, Transparent Labs is giving away a free protein starter kit that includes this right here, 5 servings in their variety pack. They have 14 different flavors. You get to try 5 of them with this pack. Guess what's coming with me to training camp? This will, because it's going to be so easy to get my protein while at Bengals training camp, because the shaker's coming along with it. It is that simple. Get to the link in the description box and try Transparent Labs today.
People are going to be like, oh, you're being super negative. I don't think so. Joe can overcome bad guard play. Did it last year. They were bad at guard. I mean, bad at guard. Alex Kappa couldn't move anymore. They had Volson. They benched Volson, Cody Ford. And so maybe they just think we can be close to league average at guard. And these are the resources we put at it. We're spending at left tackle. We're spending on our center. Ted Karras should probably ask for an extension. I would. But even with all of that, I think Amarius Mims isn't a wild card, but he could really define what they are as an offense. Because if he takes a step, he could be their best offensive lineman and be a Pro Bowler this year. He's the biggest dude that is also lean that I've ever seen. And he moves well, works really hard, has a great attitude. And so if he stays healthy and takes the next step, the offensive line may be good anyway. There's a path for that to happen. But that's still an if. We're in year 2 of it. And he's dealt with some injuries. And he played the most snaps of his since high school last year. more snaps with the Bengals than he had at Georgia. That's wild to think. So, do I believe in him? Yes. Do I think he could transform the Bengals offensive line if he hits his ceiling? Is that reasonable to expect in year 2? It's a pretty big wild card. So, offensive line is a huge question mark. Let's play a little buy or sell. We do it on the show all the time. You see these buy or sells? Uh-oh.
Yeah, no.
Got a little buy or sell. Anybody want to play buy or sell? We'll do it with the group here. All right, so basically I'm going to say a statement. Andrew runs a 4.2 40-yard dash, and you buy it or sell it. Obviously, everybody would buy that. He's the fastest man in the building. So let's start with Joe Burrow. Last year, he led the NFL in completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. This may be easy for some of you. Buy or sell that Joe Burrow will lead the NFL this year in yards, completions, and touchdowns. Buy. Who's buying that? Buy. Hands. Decent amount. Who's selling that? Oh, wow. I see what you did. I see what you did. What do you think? You buy or sell?
I'm never betting against Joe, and I know that's an easy statement to say, but I'm going to buy in most cases. Throw that out there. Now, I'm not going to lead into another buy or sell right now because I know it'll come up, but like we could talk about Shemar, and I think there are a lot of scenarios like can he repeat Triple Crown, things like that, but we'll get there. But Joe, I think I'd buy on that.
I don't know how, if healthy, he doesn't lead the league in completions. That goes without saying.
Yep.
They're going to throw the ball so much. They're going to throw the ball. I think that's the other thing with the offensive line they would tell you is Dylan Fairchild was a good pass protector in college, and Lucas Patrick can pass protect. They might not be the best run blockers right now, but guess what? We're going to throw the ball all over. And it is the anti-1990s or 80s offense, early 2000s. They throw it all over the field, and so he's going to lead the league in completions. Passing yards, when you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Mike Gesicki and Andre Yosebash, I think it's hard to bet against. I agree with you. I think that's – and it's almost unfair because you're saying, all right, do you buy or sell that he's going to lead the NFL in all of these things when there's multiple great quarterbacks? Like, Josh Allen is amazing. Lamar Jackson is amazing. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes goes without saying. Baker Mayfield was second in touchdown passes last year. Baker. Like, no one probably remembered that. Looked it up today, though. So I think that one's you lean that way, but it's really hard to do, so we'll see. This one I'm selling. I'll tell you right now. Buy or sell, everyone, that Jamar Chase is going to lead the NFL for a second straight year in receiving yards, receptions, and receiving touchdowns. All right. Now, I believe in Jamar, much like you said about Joe. I feel the same way. I'd be shocked if he did it again. It's so hard to do. It's so unprecedented. Not only do you have to stay healthy, you have to rack up so many receptions. So you're talking probably 130 receptions this year because there's going to be one of these young receivers like Malik Neighbors is going to have a bunch of receptions, or Lad McConkey, or one of these dudes that you're not thinking about is going to have 120-plus receptions.
Your boy Brock Bowers.
My boy Brock Bowers. Should have cut a word up. No, he wasn't there. I'm just kidding. What are you doing to me? But it's really hard to lead in all of those categories. So I would sell that, even though I believe in Shemar, and I think he's the best receiver in football.
No, I agree for all the reasons you just mentioned. And if we were to be optimists, let's just pretend that the defense is going to be slightly better than they were last year, and maybe they don't need Shemar to do all of that. Factor all that in, we'll see.
One thing on quarterback, I will spoil this, and it's not a big spoiler. Joe Burrow mentioned the throw he had to Shemar in Baltimore. It was the touchdown in the back of the end zone. And if you guys haven't watched quarterback, I'm sure you will, but you'll see the angle of the throw. He throws it over. It was late in the fourth quarter. It was to put them in position to get the 2-point conversion. Anyways, just an amazing throw. Joe said it was his best throw maybe of his career. I think I agree. The way he floated it to Shemar is just unbelievable. And so that pairing, as negative as some of it has been this year with the signing in Trey, we haven't talked about Trey much and all of that. I just think, like, if you're going into a game and you have Joe and Shemar, and obviously T and Trey, you can name all these other guys, but Joe and Shemar, you feel great. Like, you feel like you got a shot. And that play is wild. They had no business winning that game. And Joe and Shemar said, we're not going to lose the ball tomorrow. Obviously, they came up one play short. Shemar was open on the 2-point conversion, by the way. Joe just didn't get to that read. But just throwing that tidbit out there.
Seeing the back and forth of that was crazy again. Like, reliving it, I forgot how crazy it actually was. Like, it's like an ending of a movie happening 8 times as you're watching that game. It's like a Return of the King or something. It kept going.
Are you talking about that game or the Broncos game or the Baltimore game or the Chiefs game?
Yeah.
There were so many games like that last year. I think that's the other. That has to turn a little bit. All the one-possession losses, all of the nail-biting games, some of them went the Bengals' way late in the year. The Steelers game that everyone forgets about, the defense won that game. The last game of the year, defense wins that game. The offense, T got hurt, and it was over. The offense was done, stuck in the mud. And that's part of the evolution of this offense. They need to find a way to be able to function when you lose one of those guys, when everybody's taking away Shemar. But should we talk about Trey? Anyone want to hear about Trey Hendrickson? Yeah, expectations for Trey, what we think is going to happen with Trey. All right, let's start.
Buy or sell?
Huh?
Is this buy or sell on Trey? Or is this...
No, we'll wait on
okay.
buy or
All
sell.
right.
We'll wait on buy or sell. I don't think a deal's getting done before camp. I would be surprised if he shows up on time for camp. We'll see. I think it's a staring contest right now. And I'm not sure the Bengals are even close to offering him what he wants. And I'm not sure he's close to giving in. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll miss regular season games, and I'm sure there might be a question or two about it, but I don't feel great about it. I don't think there's been anything over the past month or two that's been like, all right, Trey's going to get done. And that's scary because I know for a fact it wasn't close a month or two ago.
Over under 8 videos in the month of August are going to have me do about news on Trey that's actually not definitive news.
Over. Trey Hendrickson's in Cincinnati. Oh, Andrew, we got to do a video.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson flew to Malibu. We got to do a video. No.
I'm nervous sitting in this room. I should be in my basement just waiting to hear from you.
We could do an update right now. I have my gear to, do the standout.
Oh, okay.
To do the...
Yeah.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome in. We could do it. Trey Watch, day 19,221. So for BengalsTalk.com, we've written 100 and something articles with Trey Hendrickson in the headline since January. Some of that was obviously as the season ended and him closing out the Steelers game and making plays then, but a lot of it's been all this drama. I hope it solves itself. I don't love it. I don't want to talk about it, but it's a huge topic because he's their third best player. And we don't know if he's going to be there for the start of camp or at camp at all or at the regular season at all. So let's do that. Buy or sell that Trey Hendrickson will get an extension from the Bengals at some point before the regular season. Do you buy that Trey will sign an extension with the Bengals before the start of the regular season, which starts on September 7th in Cleveland, for those wondering? If you buy, raise your hand. Optimistic Brian buys. We got a lot of buyers. All right. Who sells? Who says the Bengals make him play it out? Selling. I think the Bengals will up their offer a little bit, but I wonder if it'll be enough. I also don't think Trey has any leverage, and it's hard to turn down a raise. It's really hard to turn down a raise. So, tough situation. You buy or sell?
I think I'm buying on that one before the regular season, right? Yeah. I think I'm buying. I mean, I don't know that it even ends where he's faced with the decision of even has to play or not in the regular season. So I think the only alternative is something has to be resolved. And I don't think Trey is going to just take the field and put up with it. I don't. So I think whether he accepts something that maybe isn't ideal for him or they do come to some mutual agreement that everyone's happy with, I think it works out. Now, I think the more likely thing is it goes beyond the beginning of the regular season. Not much, but I could see that maybe happen if they feel like they're close.
I hate it.
I know.
I hate it. Here's what the Bengals should offer. Here's what the Bengals should offer, and Trey would take it. Trey would blink. I can confidently say that. I don't really know. It's not like Trey told me he would take it. I just think he would take it, because why wouldn't you take it? They should offer him, he's set to make $16 million this year, offer him a 2-year, $76 million extension. It gets him up to, this year, he would get up to 28, so $12 million raise, and make sure there's enough guaranteed money that he's on the roster next year. He would get $32 million next year, and if he's good, then he sees the final year of that deal. And that's the benefit for the Bengals. They're committing to Trey this year and next year, and if he stinks, you can get out of it. If not, you keep him, and Trey, you're going to make more money on this deal than you've made in any of your other deals. So I think that's the happy medium. Trey would want more. The Bengals would want to not give him 2 years. I think that's how you solve it. And I put that out there. I've written that. I've said it on our channel. And people say, that's too low, right? There's no way Trey would accept that. And there are other people like, there's no way the Bengals would offer that. And that's how I know that's the happy medium, because neither side loves it. Both sides are cringing as they deal with it.
Yep.
But he's the NFL sack leader. He's been the best free agent signing in team history. It's a no-brainer.
It's basically like you and how I treat any trade offer in fantasy football. Like if you're like thinking about it, it's like, oh, that might actually be a deal in your favor because you're actually thinking about it instead of countering.
Oh, there's no doubt. It's fantasy football.
Right.
Can you imagine if I was a GM, what I would offer? I would have called the Bengals and offered a 4th-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. I would have 5th-round pick. All right, we'll give you a 5th-round pick and whatever, because it doesn't hurt to ask. What's it going to take? It doesn't hurt to ask. So that's what I do. That's my strategy in fantasy football.
You're oversimplifying.
No, that's just my
oversimplifying what
logic.
you do.
No, it's my logic. It's my logic. Sorry.
It can be your logic.
Hey,
It's not your execution.
it can't hurt. It can't hurt to throw an offer out there. That's all. That's why 2 for 76, that gets Trey done. All right, let's talk a little bit about Shemar Stewart real quick. Speaking of blinking, I don't know who's blinking here. This story is crazy. And what's crazy about the Shemar Stewart stuff, it's not that Shemar is mad about the clause the Bengals want to put in. And it's not that the Bengals want to put the clause in. It's pretty reasonable. It's something other teams have used this year. It's how loud it's been. How loud Shemar has been. How loud his camp has been. How loud his agent has been. And by loud, I mean loud publicly, privately, whatever you want to know. Like, he is loud. And I'm comfortable saying that because you've heard a lot of stuff from Shemar's camp over the past few months. It didn't come from Katie Blackburn. Katie Blackburn isn't calling, hey, by the way, Shemar wants that. No. It comes from Shemar's agent. That's why this is so big of a topic. Amarius Mims wasn't signed last year. The Bengals are trying to do a clause that is, I get it, it breaks their precedent, but it's something other NFL teams have done. I think that's reasonable on the surface. At the same time, I get why Shemar isn't jumping at signing it, but the loudness of it is why, and him not getting on the field at all is why this is such a topic, because otherwise, I promise you, Shemar Stewart would not be on this rundown right now.
Let me ask you this, because focusing on the loudness of it, if you're on the Bengals side of things, from what you know,
Yeah.
and we're assuming here, we're speculating here,
Sure.
you are, and what I'm about to ask you, which is,
Last pecker.
is the loudness making the Bengals front office uncomfortable because they don't like the loudness? Because for all intents and purposes, they really haven't had a lot of loud things, especially since the collective bargaining agreement that we had over the past decade plus. So is it the loudness, is that making them uncomfortable, or do they just brush that off? Because we've seen worse in our history. What do you think of that?
I had to pull up the quote, BengalsTalk.com. Y'all just want to win arguments more than winning games. Oh, they felt that.
Okay.
That was not taken. Oh my God, I can't imagine. Can you imagine saying that? Like, the analogy is like, all right, so Andrew and I used to work together way back in the day. Obviously, we work together now, but like, I was in college working together. Can you imagine if I went in like, y'all just want to win arguments rather than like, No one like that. And that was a thing. And I do wonder, I'll speculate now, because I don't know and I haven't asked. And I probably should have, but whatever. Let's speculate. It's fun. We're at Wings and Rings here having a blast. So, do you think Shemar Stewart left minicamp a day early, mandatory minicamp, because Zach Taylor was like, what the hell are you doing? Saying crap like that to the media in the locker room, and chewed him out and said, I can't bleep and believe that you would do that. And I don't know if Zach would talk like that or not. I would have. If I saw this and I was part of the Bengals organization and I was the head coach of the front office, I'd be like, man, we just picked you with the 17th pick. I get it. We're negotiating. That's part of the business. STF, stop, right? You think that's plausible? Because I do. Okay, because why would he just leave? He's been a distraction the whole time. I do wonder. I'm strictly speculating.
I think it goes with what you were just saying about the loudness. He was loud, and that's sort of a very clear demonstration that is not as loud, literally, right? Walking out the door. I think it was maybe another way of saying, I've done all this up to this point. This is my next move. I could be wrong, and you might be right in that there was something that agitated him and made him hit some sort of breaking point with these outbursts or discussion or whatever he's being very vocal about. But that's what my thought was from the beginning.
I just know, and by the way, I'm not saying Shemar's wrong, just to be clear.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's wrong. I think he's getting some, I can't say poor advice. I think it's inexperienced advice. In life, very few times is being loud the right way to go. Sometimes, being loud is very, very rarely is that the best. You might have an issue, but it doesn't mean, by the way, I appreciate the quotes. But it's all the other stuff, the media tour, the messages on, there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And so, would I be shocked if Zach or someone in the organization said, hey, what are you doing? We believe in you. We want you here. It would shock me if that conversation didn't happen. Maybe that's not why he left. But if I saw that and they did see that, you got to say something to him. And by the way, it's not necessarily his fault. I think the advice that he's getting, again, is questionable. Doesn't mean that he needs to have signed by now, but the loudness. I mean, it's louder than us in here on two mics. We have two mics. We have a mic here and a mic here. It's pretty loud. The schedule game, when the schedule came out, I picked the Bengals to go 12-5. I think Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, I think the defense will be a little better with Al Golden. It's going to be the best record they've had because they were 12-4 the year with the DeMar Hamlin game. The best record they've had outside of that year. Where do you have them, Healy?
I mean, I also had him at 12-5, but for much different games, I think.
All right, so we both picked 12-5. I have them sweeping Baltimore, so I win.
Okay.
Sweeping Baltimore. They get out that broom. Sweeping Baltimore. Remember I said that. Baltimore swept them last year. Did they deserve that? No way. No way. They shouldn't have. It should have been a split. All right, but we're going to cut off our recording here. So I'm going to get a who day on 3, all right? Everybody come together now. Even if you didn't know we were going to come here, we're at Wings and Rings, and we need a big who day on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hooray! Awesome. That was great. Delivered. There we go. Now you can cut off the recording. Oh, we can cut off the mic packs. You're worried about the battery? You're worried about the battery for the mic packs.